Alright, another video, and guess what? He's got the shirt on with the sticky note, which means we're talking about new features in SSMS. And today's topic brings us actually back to something we were able to do before, bringing in our own model to use with the SSMS Copilot experience. Was part of SSMS 21, SSMS 22 took it away, and now with SSMS 22.1, we have the ability to bring our models back, but the process is a little bit different than before. Today, we're going to cover what it takes to bring in your own model into the SSMS GitHub Copilot experience on today's chapter of DataBard. DataBard, 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 hoi, hoi, hoi. Hi there, my name is DataBard and I'm trying to help you take the next step on your data journey as efficiently as possible. YouTube algorithms like data, and so do I. If you find these sorts of videos helpful, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and set that alert notification so that you find out when I am posting other videos and stories from the DataBard channel. My specialty areas focus on the SQL Server Management Studio experiences, anything to do with SQL, and especially Microsoft Fabric. So if you ever have questions on those topics and you're not quite sure where to go, let me know either in social media or on these videos, and I'll do my best to help you in any way I can. A lot of this video covers the overarching experience with setting up your own model, but as always, sometimes there's some weird gotchas or some interesting things that could happen. If only I had somebody who talked about what happens when bad things occur. I probably got something there, but I can't think of it right now. What's with the lighting shift? Character change incoming! Heed the warnings of Sinister, the soothsayer. Welcome, data mortals. Curious about the capabilities of SSMS Copilot and bringing your own model, but thinking it's a little too easy? Well, here's a couple of important things you should keep an eye on. First of all, documentation for the SSMS GitHub Copilot experience says that this capability is for only the Copilot chat experience. Inline editing is not supported. Though to be perfectly honest, I don't know if that's true or not because I tested that and that part works. Secondly, model capabilities depend on the provider, and only models that support tool calling should be used with GitHub Copilot. Thirdly, output from custom models comes directly from the provider, which means it may bypass any filtering or responsible AI that is a part of GitHub Copilot. Use wisely. And finally, support for custom models is not available for Copilot Business or Enterprise users. Heed these warnings or else bad things happen. Alright, let's set the scene. Suppose you're in a situation where you are using this GitHub Copilot experience and maybe there's a specific version of a model you'd like to use that isn't natively available within this GitHub Copilot experience. Maybe it's one that you created this LLM yourself and you want to be able to use it here. If that's the case, you're going to want to use this technique I'm going to show you in today's demonstration. To be clear, to make this work, you need SSMS version 22.1 or later for this to happen. We're going to start our demonstration taking a look at our list of models. And these are all models that work with tool calling, which means they can be called by something like GitHub Copilot. And the nice thing here is you can see your list of models and you can see the rates of each. We've got premium models at the top, standard models at the bottom, and at the very bottom here we've got this Manage Models button. Let's click on that and see what we find. Hooray, I'm in my BYO experience here. Now what do? I just have a single option. Ooh, that's scary. What do I do with it? Well, that means you have to start with the drop-down where you're going to choose the provider, aka where does your model live today. Your typical options you're going to have here, at least in current state, are Anthropic, Google, OpenAI, xAI, Azure, and Foundry Local. Again, this is where the model itself is going to be hosted. In my case, I'm actually going to use the Azure OpenAI model that I used with SSMS 21, and I want to incorporate that into my implementation of SSMS 22. So I'm going to choose Azure, and then it's going to ask for this API key. An API key, well, that's descriptive. What it's asking for here is it's asking for the API key that correlates to your overarching solution for your provider. Since we're talking Azure OpenAI, that means I need to go into the Azure resource itself for Azure OpenAI, and under this key and endpoint section here, I can copy either one of the keys that exist here, and that should do just fine. I'll do a quick copy, paste that in as my API key, and click add. Now it knows that we're trying to get something from Azure. Now that we have the Azure API key in here, the next part is adding our model, which has this lovely Add Model button. When I go in and I choose that, now I get a couple of options, and this is going to be tailored depending on the provider that you choose. So expect that if you pick one of the other providers in that list, this may differ. If you're going with Azure and with an OpenAI instance, we start with display name. This is what the name will be as it shows up in the list of models that you can see here in the bottom right corner of the screen, which I can't hit because I've got a window open and it's just going to ding, ding, ding. Isn't this a lovely sound? I'm going to name it something similar to the name of my model, so something like SSMS-databard-AI-test. Something like what I have it called. Second part is the model ID. Now the name of this field is a little bit misleading. Instead of model ID, it actually wants the name of the actual model itself living within Azure OpenAI. Opening up my Microsoft Foundry area, I can find the name of it, which is SSMS-databard-AI. This does have to be verbatim. So I'll type in SSMS-databard-AI. And then finally, the resource endpoint, which the resource endpoint is this lovely large piece of information, the target URL. I'm going to copy that, paste that in here. Next, I have some options here for token limits, and I have two options for token limits. Why do I have two options? It's because you have two different directions that the AI interaction occurs. You have information that you pass in, your input tokens, that's your first number here. The second number here is your output tokens, the number of tokens that OpenAI can give me in terms of response. These are default values. I'm going to go ahead and leave those as is. Next, I choose some options here for tool calling and image context. As far as I'm aware, the models listed here have to be tool calling anyways, so I'm not quite sure what the reason is for checking this, but we'll go ahead and check it. And then supporting image context, I haven't seen that make a difference in what I get in terms of responses or putting in information for the model, and the documentation doesn't really call out this portion. I'll keep experimenting with it a little bit, but so far don't quite know what that's all about. And lastly, the important information: incorrect model features may result in something happening, but I'm assuming that just means things could go awry if I set these settings incorrectly. We're going to go ahead and just keep that as is, and we'll hit add. And there's my list here. I do also have a toggle checkbox here, so if I want to define this, but I don't want it to show up in my list, I can uncheck this, hit save, and like that, poof, it's not in my list. But if I go back to manage models, and I hit the checkbox again, and hit save, now I've got it here, and now I can interact with this. And with a quick check, we can confirm that this Copilot is in fact running with the Azure OpenAI model that I brought in. Looks like we're up and running. So with a couple of simple adjustments, defining your provider and defining some information about your model, you can bring in any model you can define that is provided within the providers listed here. Now suppose maybe I made a mistake and I have the wrong model connected in to use from OpenAI. Well, in that case, you can delete models the same way that you can add them. To do that, we can simply go down here to where we select our list of models. We go to Manage Models, and then I can hit the down arrow here, and I can just choose to delete the model, and just like that, poof, it's gone from my list. And then I can go and I can set it up again. To be clear, I also could have gone back into those settings and made adjustments to it if I'd wanted to, but maybe I don't need to use this model anymore, and if that's the case, you can go ahead and make it disappear just like that. And now, given a world that supports bringing your own everything to everything, we now have the ability to bring these models successfully into our SSMS GitHub Copilot experience. Hey! No, that's a Kratos BI thing. Chapter written. There we go. You can bring in your own models as you need them, or if you're like me, the models that are in place work pretty well for the most part, so feel free to use whatever makes the most sense to you. Brings us to the end of today's video, and thank you for watching. Have any follow-up questions? Let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer your questions there or in future videos. And if you need anything else about SSMS, its Copilot experience, or Microsoft Fabric for data engineers, let me know and I'll do my best to support you and the community. For now, I'm Data Bard, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Today's chapter may be done, but that doesn't mean the story is over. If you are looking to work with someone like me to improve your data strategy or implementation, go to bakertilly.com/digital, fill out the contact form, and let's see how we can help you take the next step on your data journey.